G'day viewers, how you doing? This video is on the topic of an annual release for Transcend World 6 because it's never actually been said before that there is an annual release. Now last year we did get 5 about this time. Year before we got 4 about this time. Year before, slightly different timing, we got 3. The year before, slightly different timing, we got 2, or was it 2 Rush Hour, one or the other. So it does appear that we are getting an annual release. And in the Q&A for the roadmap, the question was asked. So let's just go through the answers and listen to Alex. And I'll pause him now and again, and I'll add some commentary in.
We get a lot of questions whenever we release new editions of Transcend World, and it's the question of, is Transcend World a yearly cycle? Are we going to see this every year?
So that's the question. Is Transcend World a yearly cycle? Are we going to see this every year? Now, I want you to listen to what Alex actually says, because I don't think he actually answers it.
And I think the best way to acknowledge this is, we talked about this in the past when we came to Transcend World 5 releasing, and we've looked at different structures for how do we support Transcend World, and how do as a company at Dovetail, how do we make the best simulation experience for people that love the railways, people that love trains? How can we do that in a way that supports us, that supports players? And we understand that releasing a new game can be tough.
Okay, so they talk about how to best manage the game going forwards, and they understand that releasing a new version can be tough. But he didn't actually say they are doing it every year yet.
For some players, and it can be difficult. And we know that when it comes to downloading content, it can be an issue, or re-downloading, and even entitlements and the systems and buying new packs.
Yeah, so that what he's talking about there with entitlements, on Steam it seems to work relatively smoothly. I've only seen the odd instance where someone has lost content, and it's usually because they've added a Steam key or they've added a physical copy or something like that. On PlayStation, I know there were quite a few issues last year with people who lost DLC during the upgrade, and I know some people still haven't quite got that sorted out, but most people have. It's managed through support, so if it happens to you, get onto support. I haven't seen those issues with Epic or Xbox.
It's not always the most accessible journey as well.
Now, talking about the accessible journey, particularly on PS5, it's a pain in the ass, because you have to download every version of the DLC to get from where you're upgrading from to where you are. So if you're upgrading from 5 to 6, you've got 1 version to download, but if you're upgrading from 4, you've got 2. If you're upgrading from 3, you've got 3. You have to download each version. It's a real pain, and the way the PlayStation Store manages it is actually, quite frankly, terrible. It's okay on the others, though.
Players, which we always try and work on. And I think the one thing that I want to make sure is clear for when we talk about this is that every time we think about releasing a new game, we always have the conversation internally about, are we doing this the best way we can?
So that's the nearest we've got to a yes, that we're doing this each year.
We're doing this in the best way for players, in a way that works for us too. So
now there's an important point. A lot of the reason behind releasing a new version each year is money and income to support the game and to support the people who build the game. And as people call out, and they quite freely call out, it's a cash grab. It's not. When TSW 5 came out and you had to upgrade to get new routes, and 4 did it the year before, there were a lot of people calling that out. But with 5, we got the free starter pack, and I think that removes that paywall for the people that want to get new routes. So you can upgrade for free in the interim period. It puts it back on sale for people that want to buy it later on, which I think is important.
We have our own needs that we need to meet, but we always consider, are we doing this in a way that supports players in the best way we can?
Having their own needs to meet, what he's talking about there is about 200 employees and contractors that I'm aware of. And even if you did the math really simply, and just for argument's sake, say they were paid $100,000 a year each, that's $20 million a year they have to find just for employees and contractors. That's not the office or the publishing costs or everything else through the different providers. So, or the certifications and things like that they have to go through. So I would say the game needs to make conservatively $25 million a year to break even. Let that sink in. It's got to make $25 million a year to break even. Actually, sorry, £25 million to break even.
And we have that conversation and we try and make sure that we understand the process as best as possible. So just know that that conversation is held. But releasing a new game does give us a lot of benefits. And I think one of the benefits that I really think we started really seeing recently is things like the free starter pack. You can't always do that with just a continual supported business line.
What Alex is talking about there is if the game just upgraded from year to year, on most stores, there isn't an ability universally to make the game free for a period while that's happened. So I know on Steam and Epic, you actually can do it. I'm not 100% sure about Epic. I think Epic make games free from time to time, but I'm not sure if publishers can. On Steam, publishers can definitely make their game free for a time. You see it happening all the time. On PlayStation and Xbox, they don't allow that. So it has to be a new game to be free.
And the other thing is also when you share news of a new game, you get a lot more hype. You get a lot more assets, marketing, all the admin bits behind the scenes.
Now, that's also true because if you release a press release, well, we're going from version 0.92 to 0.94, no one cares. If you say, oh, we're bringing out Train Sim World and it's a new game, it's Train Sim World's 6th release, and they'll go, oh, yeah, that's different.
It allows you to push the game wider to more players. And I think the key thing here is a bigger community playing Train Sim World means more Train Sim World. And that's what it is. It's more people in our ecosystem, in our community, in our suggestions forms, in our Q&A threads. So giving us support tickets, the more people around us, the better it is for everyone.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that because a growing community is a growing game. When the community starts to die, the game will start to die as well. Still don't have a real answer on whether it's every year, but I think we'll just take that as read that it is.
And I think what we saw with the Direct reaching huge new levels of people watching this year was really a sign that.
Now, that's really true. There were a lot of people watching. The chat was murder to keep up with as one of the moderators, because that's one of the things I do behind the scenes. Viewers, you probably don't see what the moderators do at all, because you'll just see things disappear occasionally. Yeah, we try and keep it smooth and keep it clean for you.
The Train Sim World group is growing. Train Sim World is a really growing game. It's a growing franchise. It's a really fantastic and thriving space. So again, we want to make sure we support all those players as best we can. At the moment, we still believe that the model we have is pretty robust. It works.
Okay, so we've talked about the model we have is pretty robust, and we've had a release last year and a release the year before and a release the year before. So let's just assume that that is what's happening going forwards. We're talking about the model we have. The model we have is an annual release. So while it still didn't say yes, let's read between the lines and say it is.
Works really well for our teams, but we do have that discussion of how can we make it better. And there were some conversations we had this year about how can we try and mitigate the downloading concern or the entitlement concerns. And we've
now, the entitlement concern is an important one because I haven't seen this happen on Steam. On Steam, generally speaking, it's pretty smooth and you just get all your stuff. The only times I've seen issues is where someone's added a copy from someone else. So maybe they've bought something on a physical disc and they've added it in as a Steam key, or they've had a Steam key given to them from a giveaway or whatever. And maybe there's been some troubles claiming that later on, again, in the new release. But everything else seems to work okay. Epic seems to work fine. Xbox has the occasional issue where an entitlement hasn't come from one release to the other. PlayStation Store is a bit terrible. They tend to come over with these problems quite a bit, but they are all resolved by support if you make contact. So I'm still talking to people now. Occasionally it pops up in a comment, oh, I bought this, but it never came across. And I just go contact support, they'll deal with it. The closer it is to the release, the more likely support are to believe you. So do it early.
Explore different avenues. We know we are hearing players, but it's not always something we can always achieve. So I want that to lead quite into.
Okay, he's about to go into the Epic thing. I don't want to go into the Epic thing right now. I've got a video up on Epic. I think I have adequately gathered your feelings that I will take back to DTG about the Epic issues. What I would like with this video, granted that we are going to have an annual release, and granted that we are going to have the downloads each year, there's a couple of questions that I would like you to answer. The first one is, do you care that there's an annual release? How much does it impact you personally? If you do or don't want an annual release, let me know in the comments. The second question I'd like to get a feel for is, and I might put this up as a poll as well, how much of a burden are the downloads for you? Is it something that's over with in an hour because you've got really fast broadband? Is it something that takes half a day? Is it something that takes a day? Is it something that takes a week? I want to get a handle on that one. Now, I know it's a relatively popular belief that the ambassadors don't say anything that Dovetail don't want them to, but that's bullshit. We say what we want. And what I want to do in this case is have an open conversation about this, and I want to put it out there that I want to get your feelings, and I'm going to summarize them and take them back to DTG. Any particularly important individual comments will go back as they're written. Now, what I do want you to do is keep it polite, constructive and polite. So I don't know if you've noticed, but I have strict YouTube filtering on, and it gets rid of the really impolite and sometimes downright disgusting comments, to be honest with you. They never make the light of day. YouTube gets rid of those. Nightbot gets rid of another layer. So if someone starts spamming and starts repeating the same comment over and over again, Nightbot just gets rid of them for me. And I'm the final layer. So I am the final layer of protection for the community. So I want to know your feelings, and I get that some of you have got some quite emotional feelings and tie-ups in the annual release concept, but I just want you to take a step back and just de-emotion your responses. But I do want to hear the way you feel, so I do want to understand that, and I will take that back to DTG. I'm not promising you I can make a difference, but I will make sure your feelings are known. I personally, the downloads don't bother me because I've got really fast broadband. I'm on gigabit fiber. So 2 hours it's done with. When I was in beta, I was downloading that every day, sometimes twice a day. As they got closer to a big release like this, it could be 3 times a day. It didn't really worry me. But I do get that not everybody's on that kind of broadband. A lot of people are still around 100 meg. And for them, I think it's probably a day to get this download done. I'm not fussed about that annual release. Doesn't bother me as long as there's a free way for people to upgrade who aren't interested in that year's routes. So buying that year's route package, I think it's always financially a good deal if you're interested in at least 2 of them. If you're interested in 3 of them, it's a brilliant deal. If you're interested in 2, it's a good deal. If you're only interested in 1, it's not so hot. You're better off buying the individual one. So the annual release doesn't bother me, but I want to know how you feel about it, because I know it does cause issues. Now, what I'd like to do is keep the Epic Store issues aside, not discounting your needs or your feelings. I'll just put it out there. What's happening on Epic is crap. It's just shit. It just is. There's another video which you can go and put comments on for that one. So if you've got strong feelings about how Epic's happening, please go and put your comments on that video, because I am getting those back in to DTG as well. Most of those will go back in verbatim because I think they're much more, they're very important, whereas this one I'll probably summarize. So just to cover that again, the 2 questions: do you want an annual release? Why you do, why you don't? And how much of a burden is that download for you? Is it a couple of hours? Is it half a day? Is it a day? Is it a week? And do you care? That's it. All right. Thanks, folks. Enjoy yourselves. As usual, please like and subscribe. And I look forward to your comments, whatever they may be, positive or negative. Just remember, keep them polite. That's all I ask of you. All right. Have fun, folks. Enjoy yourselves, and see you later.
We played a game.